This is your Hot Pass Stats with Cass, and I'm Cass, and every week I'm going to bring you the latest and greatest NASCAR analytics, looking at everything from average starts to finishes to spots moved to laps led, speeds, engines, everything. We're going to take a deep dive look at the analytics for the race ahead. This week we have Daytona round 2, and last week we had Sonoma. So before I start, let's give a big shout out to my guy, Kevin Harvick. The number 4 car finally brought a win home this season, and it is awesome. Definitely expect more to come from the number 4 car, as well as the rest of his racing team. He had a phenomenal race. He held in there. They kept the gas in the car. We didn't run out. It was awesome. Kevin has had a great season thus far. Came in number 2 at Pocono. So definitely going back to Daytona. So expect a lot out of him. He is hungry for another win, and I think he can do it. Dale, I got one thing to say to you, buddy. Quit playing games with Danica. She's taken. Stop trying to hit her. Hit somebody else. Actually, don't hit somebody else. You gotta win this week, man. Daytona is your place to win. I think you can do it. AJ Allmendinger. Come on. My stats last week said it. He was gonna do great, and he could have won that race. He did go up, over, down, through, every which way. He was so close, but unfortunately he suffered from a bad crash, much like Ricky Stenhouse did. Stop crashing with your girlfriend, man. Lastly, Martin Truex Jr. Terrible engine issue, real bad. My stats said he would do well this week as well. He had moved up a lot of spots in history. He had great starts. He had a great starting position for this race. But you know what? Sometimes when your engine's gonna fail, your engine's gonna fail, and there's nothing you can do. I said lastly on Martin Truex, but lastly, I got a black flag someone here. Kyle Busch's pit crew. What are you guys doing? Stop it. Put the lug nuts on, man. If you have one more incident when you've got loose lug nuts, you have some unhappy fans. I think you got some unhappy fans now, but boy, oh boy, Kyle Busch, you are going to be fast going into Daytona, and you are hungrier than anyone else, I think, for a win. So it'll be interesting to see what comes out of the 18 car. Alright, so now we are going to get into the analytics right here. Let's take a look. Let's look at starting positions. So I have data here from Daytona 2007 forward. So this includes this last year's Daytona 500 race back in February of this year. So we've got a lot of guys in this race coming up that have started in the first position, that have gotten the pole. You've got Austin Dillon, Chase Elliott, Dale Earnhardt, Danica even, Jimmy, Kevin, Kyle. Most of these drivers that we see here that have these Daytona starting positions of number 1 are in our top 10 in points leaders. And if they're not in the top 10, they're going to make their way in very soon. These are some guys that do very well on this track. You can see though, we look at a guy here like Chase Elliott. Chase has started first at Daytona. His average starting position, however, is about 8.5 here. So a lot to come. Let's look and see who has the average lowest starting position. Once again, that is Chase Elliott. So we got Chase and Dale. I think honestly, by looking at this, Chase, Dale, Jimmy, these 3 guys are all racing for Hendrick. I think you're going to see some pole speeds that are going to be insane. I think for these 3 guys, you're going to see Hendrick do extremely well this week. So let's look at finishing. Obviously, we've got a lot of guys too coming into this race that have won this race before. You've got Brad, you've got Dale, you've got Denny Hamlin, you've got Jamie McMurray, you've got Jimmy Johnson. So once again, all of this, starting well, finishing well. So, average finish, who has the lowest average finish of everyone? Austin Dillon. Austin did very well last week. If he did not crash in turn 11 and really spin himself around, he didn't technically crash, but if he didn't spin himself around, he would have finished very well last week as well. He had the highest average spots moved at Sonoma. Going into Daytona, a little bit different, but you can see average finish, he has of everyone that's raced here, the best average finish. So we're going to look here at your Daytona positions moved. And so for this, we really want to see, for the average, we want to see something that is a large number and not necessarily a large negative number. So average spots moved. Let's look. Brendan, largest average spots moved here. He's raced twice at Daytona. This will be interesting. Elliott Sadler, 7.7 average spots moved. Elliott has had 10 races at Daytona, so a lot of experience on his belt. A lot of guys that you don't normally see kind of in the top 10, but have, done very well in the past. They're coming in here as well. So Corey LaJoy also 7. But when we look at let's add a filter here. So we're gonna highlight on drivers. So let's take a look at Dale. So we just want to look at Dale. So we look at Dale here. Everyone this week has been talking Dale Daytona, Dale Daytona. This is his place to do it. This is his place to get his win this year. He typically drops spots. So we can at least, if he starts in the top 10, we can at least expect to hopefully see him finish in the top 10. I think he's determined. I think he wants to get another win this season for Hendrick. You know what? Daytona's his home. This is where he wants to get the win. So we can also see, but at his best of his 21 races thus far at Daytona from 2007 forward, at his best, he has moved 17 spots. I think he is going to have a racing Saturday, and we're going to see a lot out of Dale. Chase Elliott. Chase has only raced 3 times at Daytona, and I think we're going to see some interesting things from him. Jimmy Johnson, expect to see a lot out of him as well. Here's what we got. Let's take a look at one more thing from an analytical perspective. This morning, this afternoon, everyone on Sirius, everyone on MRN, all the guys were talking about speed. Seeing a lot of speed out of the Ford cars and just a lot of speed in general. So let's take a look so far today. What's happened is the first practice, so we can take a look at least the first practice speeds for today for this weekend's race. So let's do that. So we're going to bring our drivers in to make sure we have all the right drivers for this week's race, and we're going to bring in their speed. And we're going to label their speed, and then what we're going to do is filter. We're going to have the highest speeds up top. Kyle Busch, speed demon. The guy's been a speed demon so far. If he gets a good pole, lots to see out of him. Brad Keselowski also right on Kyle's heels, trying to get the pole also. My guy, Kevin Harvick, trying to get the pole also. Joey Logano, he's up there. Ryan Blaney, he's up there. I think if we take our analytics here and we want to cluster and we want to say, well, is there anything that's going to define these guys from each other and these drivers from each other? You can kind of see right now from a practice speed standpoint, Danica Patrick here is kind of the cutoff. She has, in this first grouping, so all these drivers here displayed in blue are falling kind of in line with each other and having the same kind of drive times and speeds. Danica is kind of the cutoff. Kyle Larson having a heck of a time. They put the car in the garage. So far, it's still not sure what's up with the 42 car. Jamie McMurray, Chris Buescher, a couple falling down here as well. But one thing that we should take a look at instead of the speeds by driver, let's look at the average pole speed so far. And so we're not going to look at the speed sum. We're going to look at the speed average, and we need to change this here as well. 94.5. Last year's pole speed was 92. 90. Are we seeing the highest average speed out of those? So I'm going to go ahead and take the make. But they were talking about, like I said, the Fords. So let's take a look here. We're going to drag the make over. And so, as you can see, they knew it, and they were just doing it by eye. They weren't exactly looking and analyzing like we are here. You can see here that the Ford cars right now from the first practice are posting the fastest speeds right now down in Daytona. Now that's going to alter a little bit the race itself because it's a night race. Conditions will change. It is very hot though right now, so those cars are going to need to cool off. Alright guys, that's all I had for you this week. I hope you enjoyed it. Let's just give a recap. I think a lot of things that played out, some of the top guys that we saw at Pocono, Harvick, Busch, Ryan Blaney, we're going to see a lot out of them. Dale Earnhardt Jr. is hungry for a win. Jimmy Johnson, he's hungry for another win. I think we're going to see a lot of great results out of the Hendrick team. I think we're going to see a lot of great things out of Chase this week. I definitely think the Hendrick Racing crew is going to have a phenomenal weekend. That's my prediction. I think the starting positions and the history that Daytona has with that team is really going to come out. So if you enjoyed this, give us a like, subscribe to my channel, and we'll bring you more stats every week. Alright, that's all I got for now. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. Bye!